New in the last 5 minutes, PapaWho Trump dismisses volunteer named George as a liar. In the last 15 minutes, Trump say, "You know Papadopoulos is a liar, right?" Trump seethed at news of Manafort indictment in the last half hour. In the last hour, Spiro Agnew's lawyer Paul Manafort has nothing to fear. Manafort put under house arrest. Lawyer says charges are ridiculous. U.S. attorney fired by Trump goads him to keep up the tweeting. Watch Colbert break out Christmas songs to celebrate Manafort's indictment. Manafort Podesta Group highlight DC swamp culture. None of this is real. Conservative media reacts to Mueller indictments. Paul Manafort's Airbnb guests loved his $699 a night Soho loft. Russia Mueller charges show no proof of election meddling in the last 2 hours. Analysis. Robert Mueller's investigation is far from over. Why George Papadopoulos is more dangerous than Paul Manafort. Lewandowski. Manafort was on campaign in limited capacity. Video. How bad is the charge of conspiracy against the United States? Trump tries to dismiss advisor he praised as an excellent guy. Manafort faces probe in Ukraine, claiming he earned $16 million more than reported. Paul Manafort caught laundering $18 million to fund lavish lifestyle. Kevin Downing on special counsel indictment of Paul Manafort. What does Paul Manafort's indictment mean for U.S. tax reform? Trump attacks liar ex-campaign aide Papadopoulos after guilty plea. Paul Manafort's shopping sprees hit home. The Manafort indictment is a historic test for American democracy. Stephen Colbert reacts to Manafort indictment. DOJ calls for investigation of Manafort indictment leak. Trump calls charges against former campaign aides fake news. Trump's fury over Manafort indictment. Aides guilty plea. What the charges against Manafort Gates Papadopoulos could mean for Trump. Fake news is working overtime on Manafort. Russia story. Lewandowski. Feds never warned Trump campaign about Manafort. IRS tax lessons for everyone from Paul Manafort indictment. Democratic challenger wants Rohrabacher to return Manafort contribution. Here's how late night TV covered Robert Mueller's indictments. HSBC's Laidler says markets not focused on Manafort. Lewandowski. FBI should have warned us about Manafort. Trump tweets on Papadopoulos, calling him low-level volunteer. In the last 4 hours, lawmakers to Trump leave Mueller alone. Lavrov on Manafort charges. Ukrainian trace should be investigated. How bad are the Mueller revelations for Trump, Manafort, and the dominoes? Here's why Donald Trump is losing sleep. Donald Trump isn't taking the Paul Manafort indictment too well. Report. Manafort Gates Papadopoulos charges send warning to Trump. Aides. Trump reacted with exasperation, disgust after indictment. News report. Manafort, Mueller and fixing democracy. The Daily 202:10 takeaways from Mueller's shock and awe gambit. Kremlin notes U.S. case against ex-Trump aides does not accuse Russia. White House comments on indictment against Paul Manafort. Lavish lifestyle. How did Manafort splurge his millions? Kremlin no accusations against Russia in Manafort indictment. Sorry Sarah Huckabee Sanders, but there is no minimizing this scandal. 7 takeaways from Mueller's charges in Russia collusion probe. Satirist Andy Borowitz explains the fine art of lampooning Trump. Video. What's next for Manafort Gates amid federal charges? Plea agreement. Biggest news of Russia probe. Manafort Gates indicted on 12 charges by federal grand jury. Manafort faces up to 80 years in prison. Yulia Tymoshenko warned us about Paul Manafort years ago. Alexei Beryl. Roads lead to Ukraine. Mistake on Manafort indictment shows case was cooked up. Russia says indictment details $18 million spending spree by Paul Manafort.